So this is about Newcastle City Council signing up to a street charter that commits to making Newcastle a more equal place for disabled people in terms of the built environments of the streets. It means that Newcastle City Council are going to first make sure that they consult with disabled people, especially blind and partially sighted people, on issues like shared space and cycling lanes, which cause a massive barrier for people with sight loss when they're not organised in a way that prioritises their needs. They're also going to ensure that crossings are working, so people are able to get to and from their everyday shopping, work, seeing their friends. They're going to robustly enforce advertising boards. They're the boards that you see outside of shops, and they're really problematic for people with sight loss because they get moved from place to place and you're bumping into them and causing injuries. And we're also looking at making sure that Newcastle City Council includes disability equality training for taxi drivers as a standard, to make sure that there's no more refusals of disabled people, especially guide dog owners in taxis. It's a really big move forward. It's a robust document. It's a starting point, a point that the campaigners from RNIB and all the other organisations that have been involved in this street charter, including the Newcastle Disability Forum, will need to kind of work with the council and hold them accountable to the promises they have made, the really good promises they have made. But it feels like such a positive and progressive step forward by the council.
I am blind. I'm registered blind. I've got very little useful vision, in fact none at all. All I've got is just light dark perception, so I can't see silhouettes or can't see shapes or can't even see shadows. One of the issues that I've had for a long time is walking safely around the streets, colliding with parked cars, banging into wheelie bins that have been incorrectly positioned, street furniture such as cafes not having solid barriers at the bottom. I'm a long cane user now, but when I first started the street charter, first did the blindfold walk, I was a guide dog user, and even it confused her sometimes because she would have to take me into the road to get round obstacles, which is dangerous.
It means a lot to people with sight loss and people with any type of disability or mobility problem in Newcastle. For the first time, there will now be a definite commitment from the council to ensure that the streets are as accessible as they can be, and that people with a disability or mobility problems are able to access the streets and the fabulous facilities that Newcastle has to offer. So I think it's a very big step forward and shows Newcastle City Council's commitment to making the city accessible to everyone.
I think this is really important. We've been on a bit of a journey learning about what we need to do to make sure our streets are accessible for blind and partially sighted and disabled people. So I think the work that's come together in this document is fantastic, and what we need to do is make sure that the city stays welcoming and friendly for everyone who wants to come and benefit from what Newcastle offers.